Well, welcome to this episode of Did She Really Say That? And I'm super excited because I've got Marcy with me. And reason I brought her in, honestly, for this episode, ladies, is that you need to hear this. It is all about different ways to design your business. That was one of the things that when I was talking with Marcy really caught my attention because we know that as women in business, we tend to build different types of business models. As you guys are starting to learn, as you're going through the Create Her Planner training series with me, women design and work in a different flow than our traditional planners and time management systems. So when going through and reading Marcy's book on Reclaim Your Workday, which I'm going to totally plug here at the beginning, you're going to want to hear what Marcy has to say, because not only are we talking about reclaiming your day, but we're also talking about reclaiming the flow of your business. So who is Marcy? This is a fabulous question. I love when you guys in the audience ask this, because not like you're asking me personally, but I know you're thinking it. So she's a multi-award winning certified speaking professional. That means she's brilliant with words. That's why you should read her, right? She is the founder of Radar Company, where health powers performance. What I love about this is that she focuses first on your health in order to be productive in anything else, right? So how to focus on management, meeting effectiveness. Oh dear God. Email sanity. How many of you guys are totally like going crazy, right? Habits that last. So she's worked with some incredible clients like Delta Airlines and pharmaceuticals companies and the U.S. Treasury Department. Marcy, that's pretty rocking.
Thank
Just
you.
saying,
Thank you.
right? She's got an amazing podcast called Health Powered Productivity. So you guys are going to hear about that one. It's going to be in the show notes too. Definitely connect with her and follow her over there. But Marcy, really, honestly, thank you for jumping onto this podcast and being a voice for women and just how business can evolve and look differently for all of us.
Well, when you were doing the intro and saying how women build businesses differently, it made me think of it's probably about 15 years ago. I
Mhm.
had a friend that gave birth, and she was a clinical operations lead, and another clinical operations lead in her department also gave birth around the same time. And they took their maternity leaves. And what they wanted to do when they came back was job share. And they had been at the company for over a decade, each of them. And the company said no. And the companies would rather let them go and have to replace with two new people, which we know it takes a lot of money with training and
Mhm.
things like that. Then these
Mm.
two people that wanted to job share and at least save and they said no. And this is where
It's crazy.
women think differently because it was all it's not company policy. We'd have to change this for everyone. And it no, you wouldn't. It's like because not every woman
Mm.
would want to do that. It's not like that. But also, so what if you did have to change company policy?
Oh my God, we have to
Oh,
change things, like
yeah.
evolve.
So, yes, women do sometimes build businesses differently. Yes.
We do. And I love that you share that right out of the gate, because I think that's one of the things that we are so desperately trying to integrate, is that it's okay to change. And where you said it's like it's not going to change company policy for everyone, but it gives an opportunity for different types of productivity, especially in the workplace when you're demanding so much of us. We're always heading towards deadlines or something like that. It's a little bit of a breathing room to say, okay, what if we co-share for this position? What if we, why not?
Yeah. Or even if you're sandwich generation, you have to take care of a parent. And it's
Yeah.
not just for women, like a man,
Men does too.
men do too. But I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why
Yep.
working differently, we just need to, think like, oh, just because it's always been done this way doesn't mean that it can't be done this way. It can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, I love when I talk with women, especially on on our episodes on our podcast, just because we are creating and looking at things differently. And one
Hmm.
of the things that we talked about was your business model,
Hmm.
because I was fascinated by this, and I was like, wait, you're doing what? Because you're talking about everything has got to be the exact same way. This is the model that works. Trust me, I've been in that whole regiment of that. And I'm watching women slowly break these models and modes and say, no, if you do it like this, it still works. So let's talk about, you've designed this business, you're creating it What is your business model?
Well, I got asked this question so many times that I started just doing, I had a Loom video and I would just send it to people because random strangers would, like send me an email. I heard from this person who I wouldn't even know, that you have this business model. So tell me about it. I want it prefaced by saying it's not for everyone. It works for me. And so I've been in business 12 years. We are a speaking, training, coaching, consulting company. 50% of our business is speaking training. 50% is coaching consulting. Most of the speaking training, I'm doing it on behalf of Rader Co. The coaching and consulting, it's spread among other coaches. So there are about 10 contractors at any given time, or 10 contractors that are our core team, and those are other coaches. All of those coaches also speak and train. They also all but one have their own business. And so my specialty is high performance and productivity. I have two other coaches that specialize in high performance and productivity. We have two leadership and strengths specialists, one belonging and culture, one career specialist, an executive crisis consultant, and two Microsoft systems specialists, and then one mindfulness and stress management expert. And so the model is, and for speaking and training, that, or even for coaching, I mean, well, basically the model is they hire Rader Co,
Okay.
me, and then if I'm not the right fit, I'll just talk about coaching first. If I'm not the right fit for that client, or they are at a level that I don't coach anymore, I focus on director level or above,
Okay.
or business owners of very established businesses, then I give them to my two other productivity coaches. Or if it is somebody that needs more leadership and strengths or belonging and culture, I may give them to that other coach, that other subject matter expert, and they coach them in the program. And our model is that, like if there's a client with a 3 or 6 month program, say a 6 month package,
Okay.
and they have a primary coach, whoever that is, they can pull in the other coaches for 1 or 2 sessions as needed. And
Brilliant.
so, as an example, I'm coaching a VP of finance for a luxury car rental company, and I'm the primary coach, but I just pulled in our Microsoft systems specialist to do 2 sessions with him on Loop and Planner and these different things. And, you know, let's say he was having an issue with leadership in some way. Maybe there was some discourse among the team. Then I might pull in our belonging and culture specialist for 1 or 2 sessions. So that's how the coaching is set up. For the training, they hire WriterCo. And then if it's in my area of subject matter expertise, then I'm the one that does the training always.
Okay.
But if it's in another area, like I have two Gallup Clifton Strengths specialists, and if they're doing a discovering team strengths program, then that coach or that speaker would do that training for
Okay.
that person. So all of these people have their own business, and they just can't, they can't, they sign a contract that they can't, take that client with them. And I've never had that issue. Um, I would say all but maybe one of them do not care about growing a company like I'm growing it. They,
Gotcha.
yeah, they really want it to stay more like, I just want me and a virtual assistant. I don't want to manage people. I don't want to do all that, which works great for me. Because I've never, not once, felt like any of my coaches were trying to compete with me.
Okay.
The other thing that we so the two productivity the two coaches that are productivity focused, they do have Hello Rater Co email addresses,
Okay.
because you know, I don't want
That's
to use the
under
word
your
competitive,
brand.
but it's under my, yeah, yeah. But the other ones, we actually just use their email address.
Huh.
Um, and those, the people that are working with me in collaboration, some of the coaches may have, you know, 6, 7 clients with me a year. Others may have one a year.
Mm.
And so I don't promise anyone anything. And to them, it's really like silver, I call it silver platter clients. So I just give them the client. They have not had to, do the business development or work to get it. And that's the other thing that some of those coaches as well don't like the business development part of it. They don't like the marketing of it. They just want, just let me coach. Just let me coach. Let me
Let
speak.
me coach in my area of expertise.
Yes.
Yes.
And I love that part of it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so, it might take me, and this is not an exaggeration, 3 years. And I'm thinking of one client that I got. It was 3 years of nurturing. It was over 15 phone calls, just like touch base type things, 2 meetings to get a contract. And some of those other coaches was like, oh yeah, I'm happy to take half the rate because I would have never gotten that. You
Got
know.
it.
And the last thing I'll say about it before I let you ask more questions, it's just that like I'm just giving it all up right now.
Yeah.
Is
No,
that
it's because it's really interesting how your design is. And I do have more questions around
yeah,
this.
yeah. I feel like together we're better.
Yes.
And like I said, I've never felt threatened. I have had some coaches not work out. And the one coach, specifically, she said, like, I don't like process. And, I have to have some process, like, invoice me at this time and check in, let me know what session you're on, things like that. She didn't want that. That's fine. And to her, she said, like, I can make more money if they're my own client. Well, yes, yes, you can, but I can just give you a client.
Right.
And it didn't work out. But, she's an amazing coach, and I have not replaced her. And I've referred 3 people to her that signed up. So there was no hard feelings. A couple of other people, it just wasn't a good brand fit.
Okay.
Um, uh, just the way that they worked, it was just not, it just wasn't, there weren't good representatives of what we do. And yeah, so, anyway,
Yeah,
to
no,
you, to you.
no. As my audience is listening, I can hear their brains all ticking away back here, right? Because they're like, "Well, this is interesting." So one of the questions that I typically would hear around this one is, well, crap, what do you pay a coach like that? How do you pay them? Is it per client? Is it per coaching call? Is it per project time? Like what would you, is it different for each coach?
Yeah, yeah. Great questions. And I will say, for those of you who listen to your podcast, I've talked about my business model before, but I have never talked in this much detail. So,
You're
um,
welcome.
yeah. So thank Katrina. The coaches are paid within a range.
Okay.
Some have more experience than others. Only one of my coaches has less than 10 years experience.
Okay.
So I don't take inexperienced coaches, but that coach that has less than 10 years experience, I mentor him, and he was very persistent. And he does like everything I say, he will do it. He's such a great student and mentee. But he has 17 Microsoft certifications. He's my Microsoft guy. So like the 10 years, like
Yeah.
that's okay. But so they're all experienced, but they wouldn't have to be for your business model. It could be that you pay yourself more and you have less experienced coaches and you charge less for them, or
Yeah.
you pay them less because of that. So with the payment, I do have a range
Okay.
for and some of it depends on expertise. Like
Okay.
an executive crisis coach and consultant, that is highly specialized.
True.
And whereas a leadership coach, there are a
Mm.
lot and productivity coaches, there are a lot of us, you know.
Yeah.
But so there's a range, and some of it has to do
So,
with just how long they've been with me too.
okay. So, and that leads me to my next question with you as we kind of dive into this, and I hope you're all paying attention and listening. So, I guess at the end of the day, you're basically like a coaching agent is kind of what I would kind of set the model as, where you're the
Um,
agency, they're coming in, and then you just have different skills and assets
yeah.
that are now available to your clients, right? So I
Yes.
think this is a brilliant model, and I want you to everybody that's listening to this, because the thing is, you don't have to know it all. And I think what Marcy
No.
really does, an exemplary example, she goes, "These are my gifts and strengths,
Hmm.
and I'm going to bring clients in that I can't support. So who wants to be on my team with me?"
Hmm.
Right? And she gets people to raise their hand. And some of these people, like you've shared with, just about share with, that you've coached them actually.
Oh, yes. So I'm glad you brought that up. So every coach, except right now, except for one, but he's the one I'm mentoring.
Yeah. So
I
you're
had,
technically coaching, mentoring
yeah,
him right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I either coached them at one point
Mm.
or they coached me at one
Ah,
point.
okay.
So and the three that didn't work out, no, I had never coached them and they had never been coached by me. And
Okay.
that could also just be chance, you know.
Right.
But yes, I that was an interesting piece of it. But the one thing that I didn't say is initially was that I also just really love giving these women work. Like it
Mm.
makes me feel so good because none of them depend on me, which is good because I don't want them to depend on me. But there are a few that it sure does help. And I really, really love that I get to do that. And I also want to answer your question about how do you pay them, hourly, package, whatever. So our we do everything in packages because
Yep.
of what we do. We don't do one-off sessions. It just doesn't really work.
Yeah. So
Unless
you
it's
blend it
like,
in. You
yeah,
blend it into the pricing. So you cover
yeah,
that when you do the initial cost to the client or customer. It's built into the system to have that payment or have that ability to pay the other coaches.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So if they are in charge of the package, like if they get a client, they're a primary coach and they have a client for 3 months, they get paid a package rate because they're doing accountability checks in between,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. If they are somebody that I just brought in for one session, as I was talking about earlier, then that is an hourly rate. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense, and I think
Mhm.
as we're listening to this, it's just because there is a sense of that there's different models. Like, and I think I'm starting to over here, Marcy, even with my business. I have my business partner and I have another member on my team who I have coached, and now is kind of like coaching me because she's learned a different skill set because it wasn't my skill set to
Yeah.
learn. And so now she's kind of like my back end coach for a lot of stuff, but we definitely reference everybody on their team for their strength. So when we bring in a client, like you were saying, every person on the team gets a piece of that because they're a contribution to that client, because they're going to have a call with them, they're going
Yeah.
to have a one-on-one session of some kind to have whatever that conversation needs to look like. So I love this model because you're showing that you don't necessarily have to bring everybody as an employee. I think you said something about they're all contracted or
They're
potentially
all
1099.
contract. Hmm.
Okay. And they all have another revenue stream in which they have
Yes.
access to.
Yeah. Or they're semi-retired and they're
Even
just like
better.
bonus. Yeah. I have two. I have one that is retired from everything but me. And then I have someone else that's semi-retired and that works awesome. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
this.
I do want to say one mistake I've made.
Okay. I was just
And
about to ask you what was a challenge you had.
yeah,
So perfect.
going back to I love to give them give them business and everything. Before I hired a fractional CFO a couple years ago, I overpaid.
Ah.
So, so it was a great benefit to them, but my bonuses were way more than what I should have given. And And I actually bumped up one of their hourly rate way too much. And when you bump it up, you can't bring it back down.
No,
You
you
know,
can't reverse that.
no, no. And what helped me with a fractional CFO, and I encourage everyone, because I hired one for a year and then I just went down to quarterly strategy calls, and that's perfectly fine. But I needed a year of like set me straight. And I'm very good with money, but this is not an area, this isn't about budgeting, you know? And I
Yep.
didn't know about like
Business.
well, what a percentage, like what seems fair. And what I thought seemed fair, um, I wasn't considering overhead, the cost of the platforms I was using, the cost of my client support specialist, who one could argue isn't revenue generating, she's just supporting everyone. Wasn't considering the 3 years it took me to get that business, or that I have to go up in front of the board every quarter and advocate for myself, all those things. I wasn't considering it. And so um, now like the way you can never go back. Now, when I bonus somebody, if I do, like, it looks stingy compared to what it was.
Mm,
And, it's like I was just talking to a company the other day, and they always gave out like whatever that, let's say 100% bonus, whatever it was,
right.
and based on their revenues for the year. And the first year that they had to give out an 87% bonus, people complained. I mean, like, just went nuts. And I was just like, an 87% bonus is incredible.
Right.
And, but they were used to 100,
Yeah.
so I would just say be very careful and hire a CFO, even just for a one-off session first, to just really figure out how much things cost you.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest, to be honest, and all my listeners know this too. That was one of the biggest shifts for even for myself. Like I had been running my business, my coaching business for over 10 years, never had a CFO, had a bookkeeper, thought we were doing well, and then I got introduced to something called the profit first strategy.
Oh, I
Uh,
love Profit First. Yeah.
yeah. So the profit first strategy was like my first kind of slap in the face, and I had heard about it, I read it. But I think the biggest game changer for me was when Profit First, Mike actually partnered with a financial banking institution to implement the strategy.
Mm,
So instead of just having it on an Excel sheet, now I actually had a banking system that I could set up my business up at, have all my different multiple accounts, one for operations, one for
mhm.
profit, one for owner's compensation, one, and really see that money dispersed percentage wise through the accounts, and knowing that every dollar had a place to go
Yeah.
percentage wise, right, was a huge. So I totally, everybody that's listening, that CFO, you might not think you're ready for it because you're not making enough money. But here's the thing: if you're making like $100 a month, you need to start like educating yourself on the business side of money, because it's vastly different than the employee and budget mentality that they teach you
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I am so glad you brought that up because it's true. Like I have seen companies overspend. I've consulted with companies that have given extraordinary, beautiful bonuses, but the question is it sustainable?
Well, and that, yes, and that's just it. Um and I was doing this all just out of generosity.
Mm-hmm.
And because to me, it just feels like, oh my gosh, I'm taking this percent, really? But I'm not thinking about all the things that go into it and all the taxes. I mean, I just
Yep.
wrote a check for $22,000 for taxes. It's just like, um, so thinking about it in those terms.
Yeah, and it's an education. It's a learning experience. And I will just say this: the more that we build businesses, um, understanding the implications and understanding tax strategies and what you can do as a business, has been an eye-opening experience even for me, Marcy. Like I didn't know you could actually do a zero tax strategy as a business owner.
Mm,
There's actually ways to do that. There's
mhm,
ways to turn our profits in our business into wealth building strategies, because I always look at it, it's like we talk about the funnel, right, in marketing. we could talk about the top end, right? Your lead magnet, what's bringing you in. And I think we get so stuck in the world of business in terms of like what we're generating for leads, what we're generating for revenue, that we don't apply that same methodology to our wealth building. So as soon as that money comes in and you have money in that profit account, where is that money going in that energy cycle back into a wealth building strategy or tax advantage strategy?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it is a conversation we're not having enough, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I love what you said. Structuring is different.
Mm-hmm.
Rewarding the people that you work with, understanding how that reward system looks so that you can continue to stay in business. There's nothing worse than being able to pay people and making sure they're paid well, but then not being able to sustain that because it happened to me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
basically paid my employees out of almost to a point where I was out of my own pocket, or to a point where I was had to close the business because it was unsustainable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like any business owner in at least at some point has paid someone more than they paid themselves that month. But that's just part of it. Like sometimes that's just part of it. Yeah.
Yep, agree. All
Yeah.
right, so wrapping this all up, this is a podcast, especially around bold statements. Like, did she really say that? And you've actually said some pretty cool things around designing and developing your business. But has there ever been a moment when you've taken on a client or looked for, done a training or a speaking engagement, and they just looked at you after you said something like, did she just really say that?
Um, I did have a moment, and I can't say who the client is, but they were talking about their wellness program, and I I'm not proud of this moment, but because I would have done it differently, but I just looked right at him and I said, "Yeah, that didn't work." And they were really proud, and they were like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, it doesn't really work." And because the expectation for they have these wellness days,
Mm,
and which they were very proud of. But what I had learned through interviewing their employees was that people didn't take them because just like with vacation, their work was still piling up.
yes.
And they said, I feel more stressed when I come back from my wellness day, you know? And
Guilt.
so then the conversation was started as like, what do employees actually want? What is it that they actually want? And so we just started like talking around, talking about some things. And like one person said, I'd actually like to have my kid like pay like one of those bouncy gym things. She's like, I'd like just for somebody to give me a gift certificate for a full day to send my kid there. Then I wouldn't have to like it was just stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just in my moment of
I can only imagine the look on the
yeah,
face.
here thinking
Like,
it in my head and it coming out my mouth, I was like, yeah, that didn't really work.
but she really said that.
She
And you
really
know
did.
what? I think a lot of times as women, when we have those moments and we can cause that shift, we cause another creative level of thinking.
Yeah.
Just like your book, Reclaim Your Workday, right? It causes another level of thinking. It forces you to really look at, okay, what am I putting time and attention to? What's wasting my time? Where am I taking care of myself? What am I doing? And I love this book because, like I was sharing earlier, it breaks down both something you can do as an entrepreneur at home.
Hmm.
If you're doing remote work or you're bringing in a team, what are the expectations? What are the expectations around your email? What are your expectations around your video conferencing, team meetings out the door? What are your management priorities? And the reason I'm talking about this is because actually Marcy's got a little bit of a giveaway for you.
Hmm. So the Reclaim Your Workday book is built in levels of individual. So there's different chapters for meetings, task management, email and chat, vacation and time off. So every
Health,
chapter,
wellness, all of it.
all of it, yes. Every chapter has levels for individual contributor, manager, and C-suite business owner. And there is a free video series that you'll have access to if you check the show notes. And it will have 4 videos, and they're less than 4 minutes long, but from each of those chapters. But it's not just like promos of the book. It's like a chapter on meetings. Like, here are some tactical things you can do, tactical ways to prioritize, tactical ways to for your email and chat. And that is my giveaway.
I love it. And thank you for the giveaway because I think every one of us, I promise you, if you're as from that audience, if you take something away from it, you're going to take something away from the I love the tame the emails. And I love the fact that inside the book you said like Slack is not like a
Project management
product
system.
management
Yes.
system. Like everyone use, and I was like, I had to like go into myself. I'm like, oh crap. I've
Yeah, that's it.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap. Like I had an ah crap moment over here.
Yeah.
So like, thanks for pointing that back out to me because yeah,
Yeah.
that was definitely like, did that again.
Yeah.
Because it's a stupid thing. Like you
It's a
stop
chat
doing it.
tool.
It
It's
is.
it's not a project management
Yeah,
system. Yeah.
it is definitely not that at all. But I love all the everything that you've shared. So what's next for you, Marcy? What is the next steps? What is 2026, 27? What does the future look like for you?
Continuing, so most of our work is in corporate contracts, so continuing with that. And I like the size that we are. I like this number of coaches, so I'm good with the size. I will have a fifth book coming out in 2026. And renovating my kitchen, which I'm doing right now. I'm just gonna tell your audience, if they are mostly women, you will feel some empathy for me that we have no mirrors in our house right now. They are all packed away or covered in blankets, and I have to turn on the Zoom every day and do my makeup in to see in my hair and everything because everything is packed away or covered. And if you could see around me, it's nothing but boxes. So,
Yes,
yes,
but Marcy, you've set it up very beautifully around you,
thank
so it's
you.
dark enough. We see you,
Yeah.
you're the center of attention. So honestly, this has been a phenomenal episode on Did She Really Say That? And for the listeners in my audience, definitely grab her freebie, get her book. It is well worth it. I am one up on you because I did get a signed copy, so neener, neener, neener. Um, but I am so, I mean, honestly, the transparency, the way you're building your business, what you've created, thank you for just being open and transparent around that and really giving permission for women to say, okay, I can reach out to Marcy, maybe ask a few questions, follow her on social media. And for all my corporate people out there, definitely you want to hire her and work with her because she
Oh,
is absolutely amazing. So thank you again. And as my audience already knows, thank you for joining in, listening in to Did She Really Say That? And we'll see you on the next episode.